So, good morning, bonjour, good morning. Welcome to A Voice from Heaven. Welcome today to A Voice from Heaven. And this is not just an occasion or just another session. Absolutely isn't. It's so brand new. It seems like there's new, you cannot substantiate it into something, but there's new downloads all the time, new information, new, say, discoveries coming to you by your recognition of an allowance of this new frequency to come to you. See, and it's always new. So it is a total delight to discover in this moment with you what is actually being given now. It is not that it's in the books forever, that the Course in Miracles, for instance, was printed, maybe 50 years ago, and we've all read it and all this kind of stuff. It's like, no. That's not what the Course in Miracles is. It is not that book. That is not what you think it is. Now, there's a new discovery for you to be made in this instant. A new discovery of something that will put everything in a whole bright new perspective. It is so new that it's literally being born in this instant. So how could you possibly already know what it would tell you, what it would give you? That's impossible. So if you allow me to hold your hand and to walk you with me, to walk you through this discovery, then we're actually like in the same place. If you think, well, I already know A Course in Miracles and blah, 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 well, okay, we'll meet again. Thank you. It's like this is really for a new discovery. You have never read The Course in Miracles. Otherwise, you wouldn't be listening to this. You've never read it. And that's great, because then a new discovery can be made. So it will tell you something brand new in this moment. Brand new. You've never heard of it. And it will give you exactly what you're looking for in this instant, in the sense of you will have a recognition with what is given in such a way that is like totally homecoming, totally welcoming to you. And well, that's the invitation for today. So what do we use for that today? That's chapter 18. We're still continuing with chapter 18 since there are such great sections in there. I wasn't able to skip any of those. Now, when I use a section from the Urtext that I use, but you can use the Blue Book too, it really does not matter. So I use the Urtext, and when I say go through this section, I take some parts out of it. So it's like, no, you should read the whole section. It's really great to take time to read this section. Now, the most beautiful thing is that when we look at it together, when we are so receptive and open to receive what is given in this moment, using the, say, the Out of Time book, A Course in Miracles, telling us something brand new in this instant, that when you start to read it again by yourself, for instance, you will hear a totally different Course in Miracles than you've ever heard. I can assure you that. So it's really about becoming receptive, in fact, for what is given. And it's not that you have to listen to me. No, it's that you open up to what is being given. Maybe in the words that are shared, you suddenly are struck by something that you really did not know that you could love it so much. And it goes just like this. Same happens to me continuously when I read it, when I discover it. Like, so lovely. Let yourself be touched by it. Let yourself be completely overwhelmed by it. And allow yourself to be totally confused by it, not knowing how to think about anything. For instance, today about your body, that you have no idea how to think about your body or how to behave. You would not know how to do that. Well, if that happens, then actually you have heard something, and that's a great thing, because it is like, this is your lifetime opportunity, and this is really serious. Like, this is your lifetime opportunity to step into a discovery that will set you free forever. So you don't have to repeat the human cycle of birth and death and all this, or not having to suffer forever or for a long time. No, this cuts right through that. It does not use the laws of time. So in other words, it's a Course in Miracles. As a miracle is not definable. No, it's a shift in consciousness. It's a shift in which you suddenly realize there is a connection. I am one with my Creator, and He created me perfectly. I feel that in my consciousness. It's literally tangible. I can feel that. I can actually let myself be completely moved by it. Now this is a Course in Miracles. This is what we use, in fact, to speed up the time element in our experience of ourselves. So the time element is you believing that there's a linear time. You believing that yesterday and a couple of days before and tomorrow and in a month and a week and half a year, or maybe in 10 years, all this thinking in which you order your thoughts, in which you try to, say, plant everything with a time tag into your history, has no reality whatsoever. So it's like you use it against yourself, in fact, to stay in time. Now the dislodgement of that, the letting go of that idea, is what we're actually practicing with A Course in Miracles, seeing that there is no such thing as a link to the past. No, there's no such thing as the continuation of time. No, time is a sleight of hand. It's a tremendous illusion. And almost everything you do is related to that. Now, here's one object that you use really well for that, so to speak, to keep it in the time loop. And that's, of course, the body. So you've used this thing to date yourself, to give yourself a time tag. I was born in that year. I'm this and this old, and I'm, well maybe 10 more years, 20, 30, maybe 50, maybe 100 more years to live, and then I probably pass on. See, before you know it, you start to believe and construct a life based on those ideas. Now, the dislodgement of that is what is taking place now by you hearing different aspects of, in fact, your reality. Step by step, you see, like, yeah, but if I'm in this thing, what is it for then? If it isn't for, say, reproducing and being an individual with a body, walking around on a planet with 8 billion bodies, or who knows, like, what is the purpose of this thing? I want to have an answer. Okay, great. So that is exactly the topic of today. This is the purpose of the body. And so in the Course, that is, say, brought to you in a very lovely way, but also very direct and very confrontative, in fact. So that we'll see what happens with that. Like I said, it's a discovery. I don't know. So the other thing that we do today is listening to Master Teacher, because he keeps on teaching about expanding the holy instant. Now apparently there's a reason for that. He does that. And that's something we're going to find out later on. But we're going to find out. We have a discovery to make there too. Expanding the holy instant. the moment that we share in recognition of the truth of who we are. How lovely is that? Yeah, you want to let it last forever, right? That would be wonderful. Well, let's see how that works. So first, I will share with you and start reading some of the sentences from this section, from the chapter 18. The Dream and the Reality was the chapter title in the urtext, and in this section is the purpose of the body. The purpose of the body. It must have a purpose, right? It isn't there for nothing. It must have a purpose. Okay. Here it starts right away. It is only the awareness of the body that makes love seem limited. For the body is a limit on love. The belief in limited love was its origin, and it was made to limit the unlimited. Think not that this is merely allegorical, for it was made to limit you. So this is quite something to start with. Wow. It is only the awareness of the body that makes love seem limited. For the body is a limit on love. And why is that? Well, it confirms a separate identity, right? It confirms the idea of an object, of that there's something walking around and bumping up against something else, like another body, or however you want to play that game. And it's like it is in fact the whole body game, you could say, the game between bodies, is one of first confirming the separation, thinking that there's someone else, then trying to build a relationship with two separate objects, trying to recognize their love for each other in some kind of way, or at least not fight, or who knows what. And you see, that is not what love is, because love is whole, love is total. So that can not really have anything to do with the body. So the body is a limit on love, and the belief in limited love was its origin. But you could say, like, is there such a thing as a limited love? If love is whole, love has to be whole to be real. So what is a limited love? Well, look at your relationships, your human relationships. It's like the nature of it is a limited love, right? And you experience or suffer the consequences of that too. I know that, just like I do and did. It's like, the human love part is always limited, because it's based on an idea that isn't true. The belief in limited love was its origin, and it was made to limit the unlimited. Well, can you limit the unlimited? Well, you try. We did this exercise a couple of days ago, in which you close your eyes and actually going to discover the boundaries of your consciousness. Are there any limits to your consciousness? No, of course not. Well, walk around with your eyes closed through wherever you find yourself. Are you bumping up against objects? Yes, you are. Well, this is like proof. You could say that your body is a limit to. It is made to limit, obviously. It's made to separate, so you can bump up against other objects. And so that's a strange belief in the totality of your reality. That's a strange belief. So you try to limit love, while love is unlimited. So it isn't love. So it's not merely allegorical. So it was made to limit you. It's like, it's not just as an example of, this is how it works and blah, blah. It's like, no, it is made to limit you. And you actually perpetuate that limitation as long as you value any kind of idea in relationship to the body. Oops, I go the other way around. Yeah, here we go. Can you who see yourself within a body know yourself as an idea? Can you who see yourself within a body know yourself as an idea? Why would this question be here? Like, why is that question here? Know myself as an idea? Everything you recognize, you identify by externals, right? Something outside itself, right? You use everything for that, to confirm, in fact, your identity. You use everything outside yourself to confirm your identity. You bump up against someone and say, oh, sorry. But like that is a confirmation of that you are identified as a body. And that something outside of yourself is there to confirm your identity. So literally you have used everything for that. You cannot even think of God without a body, can you? Can you see God as an, say, limitless, everywhere? No, you cannot even think of God without a body or some form you think you recognize. The body cannot know. And while you limit your awareness to its tiny senses, you will not see the grandeur that surrounds you. Yeah, this is what comes to us many times in meditation. It's like we see that our ideas are limiting us to a constriction. And in order, for instance, time as a constriction, time, ideas about ourselves, thinking that we're not good enough and all this, and thinking there's a reason to be concerned or to be afraid. So in the meantime, that is why you focus on, and this is this very little thing, you could say, that you do that. Yeah, you in fact are concentrating on a very little part of your consciousness. Well, you actually miss the grandeur that surrounds you. God cannot come into a body, nor can you join him there. Limits on love will always seem to shut him out. Limits on love will always seem to shut him out and to keep you apart from him. So the body is a tiny fence around a little part of a glorious and completely limitless idea. So the body is a tiny fence around a little part of a glorious and completely limitless idea. Wow. Limits on love will always seem to shut him out and to keep you apart from him. God cannot come into a body, nor can you join him there. So the body is in that sense useless in this. Like we don't use it for that, to communicate with God. So what happens then? So you see with the miracle principles that a sudden shift into invisibility would be a miracle. And temporal loss of body awareness, shifting into a state of invisibility where you cannot see with the body's eyes. It draws a circle infinitely small around a very little segment of heaven, splintered from the whole, proclaiming that within it is your kingdom, where God can enter not. Within this kingdom the ego rules, and cruelly. And to defend this little speck of dust, it bids you to fight against the universe. That's very dramatic. It bids you to fight against the universe. So now are you successful? Or is it hard work to fight against the universe? Yeah, it is very hard work if you want to do that. And so it's like the hide and seek game that we were talking about the other day. It's like you try to hide from reality. And now you found this really great spot to put yourself. your body. You hide yourself in a world full of illusions with all shiny stuff and modern technology and science and who knows what, like a really top-notch technology, going into the universe with satellites and having wars set up and having a trading system that benefits the rich and having all kinds of things to enjoy yourself with and to make sure that God cannot enter. And having religions being, say, brought to life to fight each other about ideas that you hold and that you use against each other to prove that you're a body living on planet Earth and thinking that God has something to do with that. And you invest all the money that you have in that. You give to countries, you give to this and you give to that. You do everything to affirm that there's something going on in this world, while it's still this tiny little speck of dust that you start to defend as crazy, you could say. You can easily say crazy. You defend it, you defend this little speck of dust as if your life is depending on it, and you really think that it is. That's why you protect yourself. You really think you need to protect yourself against your brother, against the danger that's out there, against the universe that will attack you, and the planet that's going to destroy you, or who knows what the idea is. This is a situation you might recognize, right? Wow, we're deep in it, aren't we? If we believe anything of this to be true, we're up to our in it. Yeah. So now what? How are we going to play this then? Well, hide and seek, we did a really good job in hiding ourselves. We really get stuck in it. We really defend ourselves even in a justice system, even while we know what we did, for instance, but we keep defending ourselves. So it's like, yeah, hiding is like a very profound thing in the world, and you do a really good job in trying to stay autonomous. Well, congratulations, it didn't offer you anything. It didn't do anything. It didn't bring you the happiness that you were looking for. It didn't bring you the gratification that you look for. So you need more of that all the time. And it's exhausting. It's absolutely exhausting. It's yeah. So you come to the point, and this is of course where A Course in Miracles comes into your life. You come to the point where you recognize, this is crazy what's going on here. This is crazy how I use this body of what is asked of it. Like, I'm exhausting it. I'm making it sick. I'm doing everything I can while I'm not even this. While I'm, say, an idea in the mind of God. So let's get back to the sheets and see what goes on there. What the next part of it is. Okay, so just for a moment then. It draws a circle infinitely small around a very little segment of heaven, splintered off from the whole, proclaiming that within it is your kingdom, where God can enter not. Within this kingdom the ego rules, and cruelly, and to defend this little speck of dust, it bids you fight against the universe. This fragment of your mind is such a tiny part of it that could you but appreciate the whole, you would see instantly that it is like the smallest sunbeam to the sun. Oh, now we're going to come into some real great comparisons. Check this out. This fragment of your mind is such a tiny little part of that. Could you but appreciate the whole, you would see instantly that it is like the smallest sunbeam is to the sun. So it's like, could you but appreciate the whole? That's a little bit the problem here. You don't seem to be able to appreciate the whole. You want to protect your little kingdom, and you do a very good job at that. Now, it doesn't offer you anything because there's so much more that you have no idea about, where actually God is present in every aspect of it, and you feel your connectedness with every aspect of that. That is what's being offered, but you choose your own little hiding place, your own little speck of dust in this gigantic universe. And you do that as long as you want, but you will come to the point where you see, well, this is crazy. This is so fragmented. I cannot believe that I ever trusted that or valued that. Okay, so here we go. You would see instantly that it is like the smallest sunbeam is to the sun, or like the faintest ripple on the surface of the ocean. In its amazing arrogance, this tiny sunbeam has decided it is the sun. This almost imperceptible ripple hails itself as the ocean. So this is what you're doing in your own limitation. You pretend to be God of your own kingdom. That is the arrogance, like the top arrogance, thinking that you can determine what needs to happen. And you do that. You make your choices and you go for them. You confirm them. You defend them. You strive for them. And you hurt others for them. And you kill others for them. And all this stuff. Think how alone and frightened is this little thought, this infinitesimal illusion, this gigantic illusion, holding itself apart against the universe. The sun becomes the sunbeam's enemy, which would devour it. And the ocean terrifies the little ripple and wants to swallow it. I love these comparisons, so great. Yet neither sun nor ocean is even aware of all this strange and meaningless activity. They merely continue unaware that they are feared and hated by a tiny segment of themselves. Even that segment is not lost to them, for it would not survive apart from them. And what it thinks, it in no way changes its total dependence on them for its being. Its whole existence still remains in them. Without the sunbeam would be gone. The ripple without the ocean is inconceivable. Now you see, it's like this is what you're trying to do with defending your little speck of dust, your little kingdom, your tiny, tiny, tiny little kingdom. You defend it and you think that you're actually determining its existence, while completely missing that you're completely surrounded and supported by the whole universe, by a love that is beyond definition. So this is a beautiful comparison. Like all these segments, you think you're the sun, a sunbeam being the sun itself. While if the sun wouldn't be there, this sunbeam wouldn't be there at all. So it's like that's just a bunch of insanity that you get yourself into, being a human being and defending yourself in it. In your tiny kingdom you have so little. Should it not then be there that you would call on love to enter? Look at the desert, dry and unproductive, scorched and joyless, that makes up your little kingdom, and realize the life and joy that love would bring to it, from where it comes and where it would return with you. The thought of God surrounds your little kingdom, waiting at the barrier you built to come in and shine upon the barren ground. Yes. So it's like, okay, we're waiting. Hello, somebody there? Your little speck of dust, are you okay doing? Are you okay hiding? We found you. Now open up the door. Hello? It's like that. Waiting at the barrier you built to come in and shine upon the barren ground. See how life springs up everywhere when you allow that to occur. And you can't believe that when you're in your human defense. You can't believe that actually by opening up your consciousness and letting the light in, that life would spring up from within you everywhere. Like your whole world would be never ever the same. Everything will be shaken upside down by it. The desert becomes a garden, green and deep and quiet, offering rest to those who lost their way and wander in the dust. Give them a place of refuge, prepared by love for them, where once a desert was, and everyone you welcome will bring love with him from heaven for you. They enter one by one into this holy place, but they will not depart as they had come alone. You have reached the end of an ancient journey, not realizing yet that it is over. You are still worn and tired, and the desert's dust still seems to cloud your eyes and keep you sightless. Yet he whom you welcome has come to you and would welcome you. You have reached the end of an ancient journey, not realizing yet that it is over. That's amazing. So this is where we find ourselves. Like the journey's actually over. You're still tired and your eyes are full of dust from this from this incredibly dry desert. And that you have defended so very well, and that you have suffered. And so it's like, okay, so what does this have to do with the body then? Well, this has to do everything with the body. So the body is being used by you as a matter of identification, as you could say, as a character in the separate dream that you came up with to literally create your bubble, your little hologram of denial, which you could be the king of your kingdom. Now, I don't know about you, but if I look at how I did that and what the result of that was, I can tell you from my experience that that was a total mess, that I felt totally lonely, that nothing was really, say, fulfilling, that I had no idea what to do with it, in fact. So it's like, that was a real dusty place. It was dry, it was lifeless, it was angry, it was, repulsive, you could say. It was impossible. That's what I know. So to see that when you open up to the light within, to opening your consciousness, to have some receptivity, to let some ray of light literally come into your awareness, has brought life in me, like from within in me, that I would never knew, that I was totally forgotten that existed in me. And so it is with you. So you allow this for one instant to come to you, and you see that all dreams are dissolving, that you suddenly realize everything starts to make sense suddenly, while nothing made sense before. Like as a human being, nothing really makes sense if you take a really good look at it. You try not to take a good look at it, and you defend that you want it. Okay, sure. So that makes it really hard to actually see what is going on. But if you for a moment stand still and really take a look at this, like what is normal, what is not normal, that it's okay to lose the ones that you love, that you in fact accept that in your sojourn in time, you accept the fact that you can lose the ones that you love. And it hurts like hell, right? Well, this is just one example of the total insanity that you keep defending, of thinking that there are separate bodies that can suddenly disappear, and separate bodies that can leave you in their, not even dead, but in the dream, that other bodies can leave you, in which you feel totally abandoned, or they hurt you, or they do whatever they do. It's like this whole game with the body, you could say, with in fact proving your separation to each other, confirming your separate identities to one another, and trying to bring that to an idea of love, trying to make that into a love experience, is a hopeless mission. It will never succeed. Not that way, of course not. So it's like suddenly there's the possibility to open up your consciousness and see that love is one, that there is no different kinds of love, but there is one love. And in fact, you know that. There's no separate love. Like, and also there's only one of us. You don't need separate bodies in that sense. Now, to experience love, you don't need another body. And this is another way of saying that. And that's so great to discover. So if the light shines on your barren ground and suddenly something starts to come to life, and that inner growth, you could say, is so incredibly fulfilling that you don't want anything else, that you want to hear more about it, that you want to experience more about it. And that is, yeah, coming to the place of having a single desire for your Father, for the one that created you. And in that single desire you can completely disappear, and you will, when the more you let go of your identification as a separate entity, suddenly you shift into the total love that you are. So this is a very natural occurrence. It isn't. It is what you are. So this chapter is great for that. And so now we go and listen to Master Teacher and see what happens when he shares about expanding the holy instant. And so this is the second episode of the second part of the talk. I don't know if that's any information to you, but anyway, we're going to listen to it.
What you'll notice is that the texture of your consciousness is different. See? It's a different feeling. You have a different association with your thoughts. In the Course, Jesus describes this. The way you can tell is it's all new to you. It's a different kind of you. Not in your form associations, but rather simply in the way your mind now activates. It becomes, oh, hi teacher. Dear, nice to see you. You see? If you persist in this, will you go to light? Yes. Yes. Is it possible at this depth for you to flash out? Jesus calls it go to brightness. Oh yeah. It's very possible for you to do that, certainly. If you do that, and when you've done that, except in divine associations, you're just written out of the script. You no longer were, you're just gone. All right. when you come in the manner that you're coming, you're being used as a vehicle of communication. Jesus says in the Course, it would be unfair of us to provide you with a mechanism of atonement without allowing your own teaching devices. You wouldn't be with me if you weren't healers. Listen to me. Healing and teaching are the same thing. Your instructions from the time of your, what you would call early maturation, were to be healers. I know you guys. You can call that messianic complex if you want to, but a lot of you have always wanted to be healers. That's why you're with me. You've wanted to save the world. I know you. Okay? What's happened to you? You said you wanted to save the world. What's going to happen to you? You're going to save it. Of course. Of course. You might have identified it separately when you were 12 years old and formed the disciples around you, or felt that you wanted to go to church and look at the stained glass windows and wondered why other people didn't feel how you felt when you went into the icons of the church, and how you liked the smell of it, and how you thought you might be a nun, or how you thought come on, I know you guys. All of those things you've already done. It wasn't necessary for you to do them again. You've tried that. You've tried to withdraw and you've tried to participate. You've climbed mountains and gone down into valleys. You've charged up hills attacking the enemy, and you've defended yourself, and you've resigned yourself, and you've killed yourself, and you've glorified yourself, and still you've been you, and now suddenly the whole you is emerging. Be happy about that. Be very happy. Be happy. If I were you, I'd be very grateful for what's happening to you. I would look back and say, I don't want this. Let Babylon burn, you guys. You've come. The line is getting real straight for you now. Straight the way and narrow the gate. Okay. Don't hide your light under a bushel. Let it start to show. Okay. I'm doing Christian vernacular here. But that way now is straight to you. You can see it. In the Course, Jesus says the road will get real straight. You've decided. It gets narrower and narrower. It's called the razor's edge, we used to call it. You find yourself like this. You may glance back very occasionally, but it's getting too straight. What? You become one-eyed. This is what you want to do. This is what you want to do. You'll be distracted and you'll come right back onto it. Don't turn around. Okay, let Babylon burn. Some lovely sentences in the spiritual thing. I mean, you've climbed out through the top of the roof. Let your possessions be. Don't go back down into the burning building. Let it alone. You'll turn to salt, and your salt will have lost its savor. And what good is that going to do you? Okay, you are the salt of the earth. This is Lot's wife, isn't it, when she's leaving Babylon. And she looks back and, whoppo. If Babylon is, you built the wall around Babylon, and you have been babbling in your attempts to reach God, which of course you can't. And now let's let the walls come a-tumbling down, all right? Or Jericho. Joshua fit the battle of Jericho. Jericho. Jericho, Joshua did the battle of Jericho, and the walls came tumbling down. Guys are Christians. Whoever thought Christians would get this? I don't mean the Jesus Christ, but I mean the kind of. Well, how else could they get it except with Christianity? If you stop to think about it, if we're teaching transformation of mind, which is all we ever really taught. Getting the Course in here was really something, wasn't it? You talk about a miracle. That Course is coming intact into a conveyance, a receptacle that could could scribe it without judgment, okay, as it was. That's an incredible accomplishment. You notice that, and of course that's what we needed, we needed a scribe. We needed somebody that was going to enter into perceptual interpretation. As soon as Helen enters into interpretations, it falls off. Like her prayers and that are not coarse, obviously. You can tell the difference very decidedly. But imagine being able to actually continue and bring that down into this reality. It's an astonishing thing. There, at least then you had the presentation of it. So you use that. See, it started to slip sideways. The Course, I don't know how you could slip the Course sideways perceptually, but you did it. And it's beginning to go like this. That's what I'm for, to get you back into what it says. That's why I got the assignment. I'm not connected to the Course in Miracles in the sense of, this is an assignment for me. Can you hear this? I have a whole mind, and the Course is beautiful. It's the vernacular of your cellular memories. Greater things will you do than I have done, simply because you're going to do all the things that are in your whole mind in regard to this, aren't you? I'm a mercenary. I'm here with the total truth to let you see that through this reflection. Can you hear me? I was gutted out on my last death. I'm not from here. I remember here. Neither are you. See, that's what you're coming to know through this Course in Miracles. The guy that was supposed to be the Savior missed it. You know that happens sometimes. You never know up to the end whether the guy's going to make it or not. Your designated one fell off the truth wagon. Did you know that? You had a variety coming up. So you guys are maturating very rapidly now. And you had a consciousness that had evolved to a point, but when you can't get a total light insinuation, this is the other measure. They just grabbed me and threw me into it. But I know perfectly. If it hadn't been me, you wouldn't be here now. See, I'm an understudy. Did you know that? But it's a good thing for you that's true, because now we're in. We're okay. We're going to be all right. The steps that have been taken today are extraordinary. That little click that you heard about 10 o'clock this morning was a whole shift in consciousness. Everything that is in this room now is different, completely different than it was. It's just, you can sense it if you want to, but you can sense that it's different. It's later in time. See if you can hear that. Even though it's later in time, it would appear to be in the same association, wouldn't it? Okay, why? The same things are happening, but they're at a higher integrated frequency of consciousness response. Okay, and you're actually sharing it up in here rather than down in here. Now that sorting out process will continue. Those of you who are going to slip a little bit back into time will come back down in, and then that may evolve, and tomorrow you'll undergo a dramatic experience and you'll be back up into it. The reason it appears chaotic is that when you're this early in what you call the history of time, coming from what? Total chaos, coming from a black hole, coming from compacted thought, back to reality, there's no real stability. There's no way we can hold on to light consciousness and balance it. It's too chaotic. So all of you individually are coming from different places in the space-time fabric to enter into this fabric. Some of you are ahead in one regard, like you're very much in one. Some of you are a little behind in one regard. In what? What Jesus calls the great rays. Okay, this energy you're experiencing are just what? The 12 rays, aren't they? The emanations that became light when in fractured consciousness. Okay? The 12 notes on the chromatic scale. The 12 tribes of Israel, and on and on. So when you meet a consciousness at this depth, you may match very well with him in some of the centers, but in other centers, you're way off. So you love to hate and hate to love, and you think you love him, but you keep trying to establish these relationships. Now, if you'll use this energy this bright energy, this is later on for all of you in time. So you can organize around this if you won't judge it. And don't judge the brother that you're with, then you'll come into this new light. That's what's happening to you. Oh, I gotta take off my socks. No wonder I'm having a problem. Oh. We have a great Christian tradition of barefootedness. Did you know that? We do feet, okay? We have a Jesus tradition of doing feet that's real strong in us, too. Not necessarily body manipulation, but we do feet. The only part of you could ever be corrupt would be what touches the earth. At the Last Supper, when Jesus is doing feet. And Peter says, well, let's do the whole body. He says, Jesus, just do the feet. Just take care of the lower energy. Let the part of you that's connected to the earth is what needs to be recovered. That ceremony's kind of gone away at Easter, isn't it? Remember the old ceremonies Christians used to do each other's feet? I see some Episcopal people didn't like the idea. It wasn't sanitary to do each other's feet, so they decided to wash each other's hands instead. I thought that was sort of Pontius Pilate-y, you know. There was a story about it in the paper, well, it's not hygienic to do the feet. Let's get together and wash each other's hands. I went, yeah. It's typical. It's just typical. They're going to wash their hands of the whole situation. Yes. So here you are in this new light arrangement. You're looking very lovely. What do you do now? Nothing. Nothing. The miracle works just by step back from it. You have the energy now. If you want to make application of it, you don't have to go charging out to prove that you have this. There's no necessity to prove you. There's no alternative to what's happening to you. This is simply a maturation of your mind. Let it happen. Will you be confronted by these other consciousnesses on the surface? Just keep backing away from them. Hello. Hello. Will that be a little chaotic? Perhaps, but what do you care? What do you care? You've got a little piece of something here, and you're not going to let that go. Jesus, in the Course, there's a lot of the Course where he says, once you see this, you won't persist in being human. You may not be able to express it. You may find counsel in your own closet. I would admonish you to ponder this in your heart. You go and get alone, and you'll begin to feel this energy, and you'll start to breathe, and the next thing you know, you'll begin to have spontaneous reactions to this new flow of you. You don't have to get into a big group to demonstrate that. In fact, the less that you attempt to demonstrate in mutual association, the more rapidly this maturation will occur, because this is an individual process.
It's always liberating to hear Master Teacher speak. For me, it's like so liberating. So the one thing that comes to me is, of course, the individual experience. It's like this is not a group attempt to experience God or something, or to come together to experience God. It's like, no, it's still an individual affair. So it, like he says, it doesn't need to be in big groups. It doesn't need to be any kind of definition. No, this is about you allowing that to touch your heart, to let that be an experience for you. It's really like your own discipline, you could say. That is not anything else. And that makes it so lovely. And to come to that is really beautiful. So one of the initiatives that came to me, and which is very familiar to us in the Iwi circle, you could say, is the fact of tabernacling. So just spending quiet time with one another, and yeah, just spontaneous, great. Or we can even organize it. Like I was having quiet times with a specific one of us, and it's like, well, that's such a lovely idea. How incredibly helpful that is to just stand still, no internet, no nothing, no, just being quiet in yourself, allowing something to occur to you in quiet. Nobody needs to see it. It doesn't need confirmation. No, it's just your intimate process of accepting, in fact, what is given in the moment. So then the idea arises to just organize this in a certain way. It's like, know that I'm doing this at this point in the day, and say, come and join. Sure, absolutely. And this is the lovely thing of, say, tabernacling or dwelling with your single desire for the Father. But it's still a very individual process. You are the one who, as we see now in this chapter 2, it's like you're the one who has to open the door, open the gate, in fact, so that the light can shine into your consciousness and bring your desert to life. Now, if you need to bring your desert to life, this is your opportunity. It's like we do that here, of course, absolutely. So this is a quiet moment of listening to what is being shared and actually having recognition with all of that. And using A Course in Miracles, or using in whatever way, in fact, if you come to an inner awareness of your connectedness to your origin, to your source, wonderful. Like, why not now? Why not practicing that now? So, yeah, why not? So I thank you so much for your time today, for this incredible occurrence. You see, Master Teacher was sharing it, and that this moment is brand new. Like nobody ever listened to this part of the talk and received it as you did today. Like, that is what matters. It has no reference to past at all. No, it's brand new, it's fresh mana. You're the only one who can receive it. Actually, your desert is going to be fertilized by it, you could say. Suddenly, something will occur when you sit still with yourself. Something happens when you allow the words to affect you. And you don't know what to do with your happiness. You don't know what to do with yourself when you experience this. Now, this is the invitation, and this is the offering, and this is absolutely doable. It is not difficult. So thank you so much for your presence, and have a very nice rest of your day. Thank you for everything. Thank you so much.